Hey, today we're talking about quenching self-doubt. Thanks so much for joining us. It's Twisted Threads. Reflections of Purpose. My name is Karen Sims, and you joined us today for our Reflections of Purpose here at Twisted Threads. Today, our topic that we're talking about is quenching self-doubt. So, great topic for us to get into. And recently we had some fan-based questions where one of our fans, Tom from Connecticut, asked the question about how do you get over self-doubt when it comes in? And hopefully you were able to press play on that episode installment of Reflections of Purpose. And it was really a lot of fun to be able to get the fan questions and really just share wisdom and knowledge and a lot of the things that I do and I share with my clients and our life coach sessions to remind them. But thought it'd be important for us to come on today and kind of do a deeper dive into how do you quench self-doubt? Well, as always, I say first things first. We understand that self-doubt is gonna come. It's gonna come whether it's professional, whether it's in relationships, whether it's just whether you're gonna be able to get those 50 push-ups in every day for the next week. Self-doubt presents itself in some areas of our life. And for many of us, we may experience it in so many different places in our lives that we see it as a normal thing. That, oh goodness, I've always got an answer because I'm doubting whether I'll be able to be successful. I'm doubting whether I'll be able to have the resources to complete the task ahead of me. So as we think on the topic quenching self-doubt, we got to dig a little bit deeper and figure out what are the reasons why we're doubting ourselves. Why are we doubting ourselves? Is it the lack of education? Is it the lack of motivation? Is it because we just never done it before? Is it because we've got a dream that's so big that we don't even have enough faith or have enough hope in the fact that these things are going to come to pass in our lives? See, all of these things are rooted in what are the limiting beliefs that we have? How is our mindsets focused on always doubting that the impossible is possible? See, if you just change your thought and just think, well, the impossible is possible, then there's no longer barriers. Now, that doesn't just make self-doubt go all the way away, but it's a great big start because you get to hope in hope. You get to have faith in faith that the impossible truly is possible in our lives as we plan, as we look to figure out ways to incorporate success into our lives. And so when we're thinking through, how do we limit and eliminate self-doubt? Well, first you got to not get too caught up in planning every single detail. You know, we hear people say oftentimes the devil's in the details. Honestly, I don't believe that because I believe that God is in the details. You know, we are loved in so many different ways, but we got to remind ourselves and be our own encouragers and motivators first. Yes, it's great to have other people come on. I love it because one of my entrepreneur sisters wrote a book, and it's so exciting because she's got a couple of books, Malika Anderson, and she talks about holistic views a lot of the times. But her most recent book is titled Love Your Damn Self. Well, guess what? I know that might be something that seems so far off for so many people. But if you're loving yourself, you get the opportunity to trigger in on those topics and those areas of your life that grow self-doubt. So don't get caught up in every detail. When you catch yourself maybe wasting time, overthinking is something. Now, look, I can be the president of Overthinkers Anonymous. I get it. I understand the process. But a lot of times self-doubt seeps in through a lot of that overthinking. So we've got to figure out how do we limit the overthinking. You're going to do it. If it's in your nature to be an overthinker, celebrate yourself, but know where to put boundaries for your own self so that you don't become a burden to you. Stay inspired. Get people in your life who are going to inspire you. Hopefully, I'm one of them. I know many of the people who press play. You all are inspirational to me. You motivate me. You help me remember that I need to not be my own worst critic. How many of us can say that? Like, I am literally my own worst critic. Sometimes I review these tapes and I have to, I'm in production meetings with my videographer and it's like, no, that was fine. And I'm like, no, we need to, redo this. So I understand, and I'm coming from a place of not just to say, here in theory are things of what you can do to quench self-doubt, but I'm letting you know that I'm the president and member of the same team, so that you get to understand that it's not a one-day thing. It's not a once and done. It's going to be an everyday thing, but you can head it off at the pass before self-doubt comes into your life, because you're remembering you don't have to be your own worst critic. Look, the world is big. People got opinions on every single thing we do. We've got to learn to be our biggest cheerleader versus being our biggest critic. As you move from critic to cheerleaders, they're both C words, and we get to celebrate on each side. You get to understand who you really are. Be able to give off an air of confidence until you convince yourself to feel it. The more, a lot of people is like, fake it till you make it. Don't worry about it. Well, one of the things that I shared with Tom for exercises that he could do was start a journal, write love letters to yourself, record your own voice, reminding you how awesome and amazing you are. Because sometimes we'll hear everybody else's voice and we could dismiss them. But there's something about hearing positive affirmations in your own voice that gets your attention a lot more quickly. So don't get stuck in a comparison track. Don't worry about what you see somebody else doing. Don't worry about that Joey over there got the promotion. Because guess what? You may be next in line for not just a promotion, but a better job, more benefits, more opportunity. So we can't get stuck in the trap of comparison to say, well, I see them over there doing it, and I love it because a lot of times, especially my single sisters, will see somebody get married off and we always have something to say. Well, they're too big. How did the big girl get somebody? How did the skinny girl get somebody? How did the goofy chick land a man? Well, guess what? At the end of the day, we don't know what cost that particular sister, what it cost her to be in that relationship. So before we sit in a seat where we're judging what it is that we see, or maybe that spirit of comparison will be like, well, I'm better than so-and-so. Humility will get you a lot more places. What? You get more bees with honey than vinegar. You got to understand that these are not just theoretical things, but they're practical ways that we could apply positivity in our lives to be able to affect change, not in the entire world, because the one way you can change the world is change the you that the world sees. So as you build up your confidence and as you quench that self-doubt, and sometimes you got to say, Karen, I need you just to shut your mouth today, because you are not coming with positive things. And I know I've got to check myself every now and then, not often, because I try to give myself positive things to say. Remember, people don't really always care about what you do or say. So it's up to you to do the caring for yourself, not overly getting all into it, but remembering to stay positive in your view of your own self-image. Because as you increase your confidence in your self-image, as you convince yourself, not just of the confidence, but that you're amazing, that you're great, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, that you have purpose here on the earth, guess what? Your voice becomes louder than the naysayers. And sometimes your voice even becomes louder than the negative parts of you that are speaking to you in a way that are just not bringing positive things into your life. We want to be productive. We want to be successful. That means that we've got to tackle this problem of quenching self-doubt. Why? Because it may be the only thing between you and your biggest success. It may be the only thing between you and you stepping into the next greatest thing, the greatest opportunity that you've ever had in your life. Look, quenching self-doubt, it's something that we'll be talking about more than one time, because we know that it comes around. This is Twisted Threads. As always, we remind you to like and share these videos. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channels. And as always, with our reflections of purpose, make it an amazing day.